because
No.
I mean,
So
you've just
you're trying to like
you've
put
just made
words
the
in my mouth
argument
right
like
now.
these Democrats, by the way,
These Democrats.
extremely bought out by major corporations. Kamala,
Sure.
massive contributions from billionaire donors.
I don't believe in that. I don't believe in billionaires playing a huge role in politics.
When you say you don't believe in that, you're saying you don't believe what I said to be true, or you don't believe that billionaires should be contributing politically?
I don't think they should be like pouring all their money into these media mouthpieces.
That's a separate conversation, though.
Okay. But that's what I believe. I just don't think they should be like funding what.
Right, but then you would have to argue that, well, okay, because Kamala raised billions of dollars.
I don't love Kamala,
from
by the
donors.
way. She's not
right,
my.
But she should. I don't think she should be assassinated for it. But your logic would seem to.
Charlie Kirk should not have been assassinated.
It seems to follow that she's contributed to the system of violence.
What I wanted to say about that statement in the context of Charlie Kirk is that he constantly kind of like excused and brushed over gun violence every year. He's like, oh, it's collateral. Oh, it's just like car accident deaths every year. That's the consequence of us getting to drive a car.
Yeah.
And I think if you had a son who was in first grade and that son was the victim of gun violence, Charlie Kirk would not bat an eye in the direction or care about that at all. Because it was just collateral to him. Gun violence was just collateral to him.
Well, I think Charlie Kirk would absolutely be broken if one of his children was killed by gun violence.
Yeah, but when it's other people's children, like when it's the people, there was another school shooting the same day Charlie Kirk died. If he had like lived past that, he would have been like, oh, it's just collateral. It's just so we can bear arms. It's just like the
I think you can still want to maintain your constitutional rights, specifically the Second Amendment, and also abhor unjustified killings, violence, school shootings.
But at the expense of how many lives?
But believing in the Second Amendment and wanting to uphold the Second Amendment and giving people access to, robust ability to protect themselves and to prevent a tyrannical government.
Without even the consideration of any sort of gun control.
Let me just finish my point. I think these two positions are not contradictory. So you can be like, hey, we have a major issue in our country. Gun violence of any kind we shouldn't have any. But we should also be able to own firearms.
Right, but then if you think that, if you are so horrified by gun violence, but you want to protect your Second Amendment right, then shouldn't you believe in some sort of gun control, some sort of checks and measures?
There are.
Not enough, clearly.
There are.
If they're getting into the hands of people like...
Sure. Well, I mean, I can talk about my own experience. For example, if you go to a gun shop here in the United States, in California, the first thing you have to do is you have to get a safety certificate. It's like a 25. To be fair, I studied for it. I passed it the first time. It's pretty simple. And then there's
Pretty simple, right? Anyone could.
Well, then, but if you make it too complicated, because for example, there's like questions on there. I got 23 out of 25 questions correct. 2 of them were related to like, if you're a firearms dealer, something about being a firearms dealer, which like I'll never need to know. And then there was something about like, what age do you need to be able to buy like a specific type of gun? And I'm well above the age for that to ever be relevant to me. So it's like,
I just want increased background checks and things like that to make sure that if you want to uphold your Second Amendment right as an ethical, normal person who is law-abiding, that you can get that gun, but then it can't get into the hands of people who are not ethical and law-abiding. I just want increased measures for that.
So there's a 10-day, at least in California, 10-day cooling off period. So you go to a gun shop. First, you have to pass the test. You have to get the background check, make sure there's nothing that's going to come up on that, and then you have to wait 10 days before to get the firearm. Different jurisdictions, different states have different laws.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess my question I would ask you is, even if there's an outright, and practically speaking, I think it's just going to really never happen. Do you think if we were to actually fully outlaw guns, like would that be your hope to fully outlaw guns?
That's not necessarily my take because I don't think you can start like compromising on amendments. I just want like increased measures to where, again, people like you can get guns, but people like school shooters can't. Just increase safety and hopefully less gun violence as a result of that. Because like if you look at other countries, I mean,
what checks would what things would you want to be in place to prevent someone from purchasing a firearm? Because I mean, just to let you know, like a lot of these people who do commit these abhorrent, disgusting acts, most of them don't have a criminal history. Most of them don't have any negative check mark that could be discovered on a background check. So
Do they have mental health issues, perchance?
I do believe.
I think they would.
I'm not an expert on this topic, but I do believe if you have some history like of being committed to a psych ward,
Then you shouldn't, right?
well, my understanding is if you have been committed to a psych ward, I do believe. No, well, I'm
Sorry.
pointing in this general
Sorry.
direction. I do believe that could preclude you from getting a firearm. Now, again,
Should.
I'm not. Well, I think it does.
Yeah.
So the law already. But again, this isn't my wheelhouse, so I don't know, like in each state, what the laws are on this specific
Me
thing.
neither, honestly.
But this idea that it's just like, you know what, one day you can just go to a gun shop and they just hand you a gun. In a lot of states, it's not the case. I don't know the details in every single state. In any case, though, do you think that if we were to get rid of guns entirely in this country, do you think that that would really solve any of the problems?
Okay, I mean, if you were to suddenly say you can't buy a gun, like there's already
Yeah.
so many guns in circulation that wouldn't really do much.
Like, yeah. So check this out. So somebody who owns guns, like, would you be in favor of the government rounding up everybody's guns, like by force, by the police,
If, like, in a magical world, all guns in
in
this
a real
country-
world?
Okay, well, this isn't really possible, which is why I'm
Well,
kind of.
Australia did it, for example.
But would the government be effectively able to do that with the amount of guns that are in circulation? I
Well,
don't really think so.
Let's say they could effectively do it.
Okay, so that was every single gun was in the government's possession right now.